Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Football Chuggu Podcast. My name is Thomas Durning, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Pearse McLaughlin. Hello, Pearse.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well. On today's podcast, we will be reacting to last weekend's English Premier League and Scottish Premier League results. We'll also be reacting to last weekend's League Cup quarter-final results in Scotland. And at the end of the podcast, Pearse will be giving a rundown of all the latest Asian football news. So we'll start off with last weekend's English Premier League results. So we'll start from the Saturday, 21st of September. So the results finished: West Ham 0, Chelsea 3, Fulham 3, Newcastle 1, Leicester City 1, Everton 0. Everton 1, Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 1, Ipswich 1, Tottenham 3, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 3, Wolves 1, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester United 0. And then on Sunday, the 22nd of September, there was two matches which finished: Brighton 2, Nottingham Forest 2, and Manchester City 2, Arsenal 2. So usually I ask you, Pearse, which match stands out to you the most. I think we both know the answer. I think we're just going to go right into it. So we're going to discuss, obviously, the top of the table class, the two best teams possibly in the country, in England at the moment, which is Manchester City and Arsenal. Obviously, that match finished 2-2. So we'll talk about that one. Pearse, so what was your thoughts on that match?
Well, I was watching the Celtic versus Falkirk match,
Okay.
and then I watched the game right after it. And obviously for me it was really late, but so I didn't catch any of the first half. Only caught the full second half, and let me tell you, it was just drama filled. It was very old school. You could just see there's a bitterness there between each set of fans and players, and even coaching staff. Every decision was contested. Arsenal defended for their lives like they did against Spurs a week ago. And I feel as if like Arteta gets a lot of credit for playing this anti-football, in my opinion. Like, so if that was Diego Simeone, he's getting absolutely slated for it, or Sean Dyche, or Sam Allardyce, or even Tony Pulis for that matter. But the fact is, because he's Spanish and he was a cultured midfielder from San Sebastian, and he came through La Masia, and people seem to think, oh, he's this really expansive, hungry coach. But if you actually look at it, he's not been a attacking coach for Arsenal for 2 years. Because last year they went very defensive, and they narrowly get closer to the title. They were getting closer and closer. But if you look at last season and even this season, their success actually built on their defence, and then just taking their chances and their set pieces. Obviously, Gabriel's goal is well worked, but again, it's similar to the Tottenham goal last week in the derby, where it just worked on in terms of like the trying to get Gabriel making the decoy run and then going to the back post, and Saka's delivery is incredible, and teams just kind of seem to be defending it recently. And obviously, there's a stat: 14 of the 16 Gabriel goals that he scored for Arsenal in the Premier League have all been headers. So it just shows you that he is that target man. Obviously, everyone knows that Saliba's probably the better one on the ball, but in terms of out and out defender and just being very old school, he is that kind of go to man for Arsenal at the moment. But I thought Man City, although they had a lot of the chances in the second half, it was 26 shots to 0. I know it was against 10 men, but even so, there was like it was just two banks, one of four, no, one of six, and then one of four. With just no one left up front, and they nearly done it. But the introduction of Foden and Grealish really changed the game for Man City, and obviously Stones came on as well, and he was the one that got the rebound for the late winner. But I don't think we can talk at the game without talking about Erling Haaland straight after it.
Yeah, I saw that. I know that
He
was.
just goes like
I loved that.
Gabriel's like hit shots to the head, distraught. The Arsenal player on the ground. He picks up and goes like and fucks it off the back of the nut, and you're like shit
Yeah,
house.
that was.
But
Yeah, as I was going to say, shit house. I know.
it's shit housey, but I'm not gonna lie, I love it. Because a
Yeah,
lot of that's kind of been dragged out the game recently, and even you seen the aftermath when the final whistle, like Haaland and Jesus going for it, and even he even kind of pushed Arteta a wee bit and saying,
Yeah, it
show a
was.
bit of class, show a bit of respect, and you can see that Arteta turned around like that, and he was kind of like aggressive towards them. Like you can see there's an actual hatred there between the two clubs, and already 2-2. It feels like a win for Man City considering how defensive Arsenal were, and Arsenal hold on to that lead, and they just couldn't break them down. They were resulting into long range shots. And for me, it's more of a win for Man City, although it's still a draw, because it keeps them the same distance away from Arsenal. And obviously, I'm already looking forward to the next fixture at 10 minutes. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute cracker. And I just get the popcorn ready because it's going to be an absolute belter. Because this one here it had absolutely everything. It had goals, sending offs, injuries to like somebody like Rodri, everyone fighting, some old school challenges, and then obviously like old school headers as well. So no, a bit of everything, a bit of bite. I like that, and that's what I want to see in a football match.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, I, you just said it basically. I think this match basically can. It was the first time really where we saw a real close rivalry between the both. Because obviously Arsenal have been proven year on year for the last couple of years. And Man City, they've been on Man City's tails. And I don't think Man City, I really took them serious until Sunday. Like on Sunday, like you just saw two teams that were desperate to win and get one over each other. I actually loved it. I thought it was a brilliant game. Obviously, Man City started the game very well. Um, Haaland scored, and I actually thought at that point, I thought the first half an hour, I thought, oh, I think Man City are going to win here comfortably. But Arsenal grew into the game, scored a great first goal with Calafiori. It was a great finish. Um, then not long after, you just said it about Gabriel scoring from the corner. He scored last week against Tottenham from a corner. I mean, in my opinion, I actually think he's probably the best player in the world, best defender in the world. It's like attacking a header to score. I can't think of many other. Like it just seems to me every time Arsenal get a corner, like the opposition team sometimes think, oh, they're going to score. Like we can't do anything about it. They're so good at corners, Arsenal. They really are. I seem to think every week they score from a corner, and it's always Gabriel at the end of it. So, yeah, so they were 2-1 up, nearly getting into half time 2-1, and then Trossard gets himself sent off by kicking the ball away. There's been a similar situation with Arsenal this season with Declan Rice a few weeks ago. He gets sent off for kicking the ball away, and they've still not learned their lesson, Arsenal. And for me, it was a clear red card. You know, in the rules, the rules state that you can't. I mean, I know it's harsh, but it kind of really does kind of put the ball quite far away, and the ref had no option but to send them off. So 10 men Arsenal going at half time, 2-1 up, and then in the second half, Arsenal just decided, well, that's it. We're not even going to attack. We're not even going to shift out of our own half. We're just going to put all our outfield players behind the ball, protect the opposition box, and hope that we can get out of here 2-1. And uh, for the whole second half, I thought they were brilliant. I mean, I actually thought, to be honest with you, I actually didn't think Man City played well in the second half at all. I thought they were really slow. They didn't really create. I can't really remember, apart from the goal, obviously, they didn't really create anything. Like, they were just kind of pot shots from outside the box. They just could not break down Arsenal at all. I thought it was Haaland didn't really have any chances in the second half. I thought it was a really poor performance from him in the second half. And the last kick of the game, I think it was just a cross in the box. No, it was a corner. No, it was a cross. There was a bit of a scramble, and John Stones got the end of it, and Man City nick a point. And then obviously the scenes after it, which were quite interesting. I mean, it was just a brilliant game. I loved it. Who I just felt it was the start of a real rivalry in that match on Sunday. Two teams that know that they're going to be right up there at the end of the season. So they also want to get one over each other right at the start of the season. So yeah, brilliant game. It was definitely the standout match in the Premier League this weekend.
Well, before we move on, I
Brilliant
want
to
to
watch.
just throw out a stat to you, which I find mind-boggling from that match. Kai
Mm-hmm.
Havertz and Julian Timber didn't complete a single pass in the full 90 minutes. And that's the first time any
Yeah, it's crazy.
player has not completed a pass in over 89 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, that's
21
interesting.
Premier
But
League seasons.
yeah, I know. It was that. That shows the performance from Arsenal. How like people have been talking a lot about the fact that the dark arts from Arsenal. They were in the second half, especially they were going down a lot. They were wasting time. I think the goalkeeper Raya kind of decided to go down so Arteta could get all his players over to the side of the pitch to speak to them. Just these kind of things that were just slowing the game down as much as possible. And Man City didn't like it at all. So it was you were mentioning about the Simeone type of football. It was really Arteta was just it it just kind of shows the mentality from Arsenal as well. I quite like it because they want to win the game. So I thought it was good to see because you would think that with Arteta, even though they're down to 10 men, they'll still want to try and play football and get players up the park. And if they did that against Man City, they were going to get battered that second half. So the way they played second half, I quite enjoyed it. Um, although it wasn't really a match because obviously they went down to 10 men, but I thought it was quite good to see.
I do think as well it is a little bit. I'm going to put it out there. I think it's a bit small club mentality when you have to just defend against a big side. Because if you want to compete for titles, surely you should. I know if 11v11, but even then, to not even try attack, just to try defend it is a bit small club mentality. And they did the same as Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
And Tottenham were at home, and Tottenham didn't. Similar to Man City for most of the game, they're frustrating. Playing the ball
Mm-hmm.
left to right and not really creating much, not really causing Arsenal problems. Arsenal are quite happy to sit in, soak up the pressure, and then counter. But I feel as
Yep.
if someone like Arteta and Arsenal get praised for it, but other clubs don't. They get seen as like, oh, how can you do that when you're this size of a club? Like, for instance, Eric Ten Hag at Man United, or Simeone at Atletico Madrid, like, or Thomas Tuchel who's at Chelsea. So I feel as if like he seems to be getting put on this pedestal as if he's this elite manager when he's literally using tactics that, like say, time wasting, dark arts. That is Simeone in a nutshell, but he's getting praised for it. But Simeone is getting criticised constantly for using those sort of tactics, or even Mourinho-esque. It's like, but I feel as if like, although it's a great result, obviously 10 men stuck in, but I feel as if it's 2 weeks in a row they've done it now. They'd 11 men against Tottenham. I just feel as if like those sort of tactics, it's not going to win you a league title if you're continuing to play like that against the big sides or big rivals, because eventually you will come unstuck.
Yep. An opinion that I'm sure will divide, but I can see where you're coming from. But so obviously a big bit of news from the Man City Arsenal game was Rodri. It looks like he's injured his ACL, and it looks now likely that he will miss the rest of the season. So that's a massive blow for Man City because we all know how he's probably been the best player for the last year or so, and he's a massive crucial player for them. So I still don't know if it's confirmed yet, but it does look like he has done his ACL and he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So so we'll move on now to the Scottish Premier League results. So obviously because of League Cup action, we only had two matches this week in the Scottish Premier League. So it was on Saturday, the 21st of September, and the two matches finished Ross County 3, St Johnstone 3, and St Mirren 2, Hearts 1. So I think we're just going to jump into the one that we all know what we think of. So obviously the biggest kind of match, not the biggest match, but the standout result was St Mirren 2, Hearts 1. And after that match, the next day, it was confirmed that Hearts manager Steven Naismith was sacked. So that was Hearts' eighth defeat in a row. And that at the end of the day, it was confirmed that Steven Naismith had been sacked as a Hearts manager. So Pearse, I just want your reaction to that news.
To be honest, I seen it coming. It was just a final nail in the coffin, and even after the defeat the weekend, which, let's be honest, against St Mirren, that's not really a bad result. Although they get beat, but St Mirren are a quality side, coached by a quality manager, and they play good football, St Mirren, and they cause teams a lot of problems, considering their old form as well. So in terms, it's not really a terrible result, but it's the fact it's a string of results that they've had Hearts and they've been on, and they've not had a win since the back end of last season against Dundee in May. in all competitions. They've not won a game, so I think it's 17 or 18 games they've not won now. And for a club the size of Hearts, who finished third last year, I think it's just it was the writing was on the wall, and then obviously there's talking new owners coming in, Tony Bloom. So the fact is, I think they can see themselves in a different direction, and he did well last season. But when you've not got Lawrence Shankland scoring goals and you're conceding far too many goals, and you don't know your best team at this stage of the season, that's a worrying sign, considering it's the end of September. So the fact is, you're changing the lineup every week. You're changing formation in game. So a lot of the players, I think, were confused because you look at Hearts' squad. This Hearts squad is very good. And the fact is, they couldn't find a solution to fit in Jan Danda and Blair Spittle into the side. And the fact is, Lawrence Shankland this season hasn't scored. For me, that is pivotal. For me, like he was a top goal scorer last year in the league. He won the Scottish Premiership Player of the Year, rightly so. His Hearts finished third comfortably, and now they're in a relegation scrap at the moment. So, and the fact is, I feel as if with Naismith, he plays Shankland far too deep. He needs to be in and around that box, because if you get him scoring goals, you can get confidence into the side and maybe a better performance. And I feel as if a more experienced manager needed. I feel as if he did well in his first wee stint last year, but no, after that string of results, horrendous string of results, I'm surprised it lasts this long, because most managers have been sacked after maybe 4 or 5 defeats in a row. But I think the only positive result he got this season was opening day against Rangers, and that's against a Rangers side that was disjointed. Window was still open. They hadn't had a full squad, and they lost a few key players as well. So you kind of take that result with a pinch of salt, because it's opening day season. Players aren't really up to speed yet as well. So, but for that, I think Hearts had a terrible start to the season, and I feel as if the right decision made by the Hearts board.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't surprised, to be honest, when I heard the news that he had been sacked. A terrible start to the season. The bottom of the table. They're on an 8-match losing run, and in that time they've been knocked out of the League Cup by Falkirk. They've dropped into the Conference League after losing both their Europa League playoff games against Victoria Pilsen. And yeah, it's just I don't know what's happened. It's just not worked for them this season. We are obviously still early in the season, but it's just for a Hearts side to be bottom of the table and to make a final point to it. This Hearts side to be bottom of the table is quite surprising. I never expected that, to be honest, because see, when you look at their team, I think it's a really good team they've got. Especially going forward, I think they're really good. They've got the likes of, obviously, the main man, Lawrence Shankland. They've got Jan Danda, who's a really good player. They've got Oda, the Japanese winger. Alan Forrest. And then they've got James Penrice, who they've signed. And then there's quite a lot of other players. But basically, the point is they're a really good side, and they had such a good season last season. They by far comfortably finished third in the league. And I just did not see that. I just didn't expect that to happen at all. But obviously after the defeat against St Mirren, the writing was on the wall for Steven Naismith. And I'm not surprised, to be honest, that he has been sacked. And that now means that Hearts are now looking for another manager. There's not been a lot of names that have been kind of in the limelight. There's only one that I've noticed, and that's Alex Neil. He used to be the Hamilton manager quite a few years ago. He's had quite a couple of jobs in England, in Championship most notably, but he has kind of been linked as the favourite to take the Hearts job. But whoever takes that job,
Can I ask
when
you,
you go,
who do you think will be the next Hearts manager? I want your just personal opinion. Who do you think it should be?
I mean, it's hard to say because, like, I don't see the obvious. I think it definitely has to be someone that's not connected to the club. I think I think they need kind of kind of a fresh pair of eyes, so to speak, because the last two managers, Robbie Neilson and Steven Naismith, they've had links. They've both played for Hearts. They came through the backroom staff, so they've kind of like, you know, like that kind of link to Hearts. I just think I think they need something totally different. And if that's going down the kind of foreign manager route, then you know, I think that could be interesting. You were talking there, you mentioned it about Tony Bloom. So Tony Bloom is a Brighton owner, and apparently he's looking to invest in Hearts. You know, most notably, I think Hearts are interested in the transfer side because also we know that Brighton have had great success in recruitment, and I think Hearts are quite interested and keen to kind of look into the recruitment side of Tony Bloom's Brighton and maybe see if they can strike a deal where Tony Bloom can invest some money into Hearts and help them in the recruitment side. So that's the story to that. So maybe he might have something. Tony Bloom might have a say in it. The Brighton owner, I don't know. But in terms of a name, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. But I definitely think they should go for like a foreign manager. And
I don't know.
I'd like to see a manager that comes in because we don't have a lot of these managers in Scotland, right? But I'd like to see the manager that comes in and plays a style of football that's progressive, that's attacking, and they stick to that style of play because too often we see managers coming in to clubs in Scotland, aside from Celtic Rangers, and they want their own style of play, but they kind of scrap it because they're so desperate for results, and then we kind of don't see a real style of football from any other team apart from Celtic Rangers. So I'd like to see a Hearts manager come in, play the same style of football every week, um, and that's my opinion. So
So
what do you
someone
think?
basically in the mould of a lot of Jimmy Tellin, so someone that's had success abroad.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, because well, look at Aberdeen. The evidence is there with Aberdeen. You know, look at the start they've had. You know, they've been chopping and changing managers for the last 2-3 years, and they look like they've now got it finally right. I just think someone who's not been connected to the Scottish game as well, I think is quite good because I think, you know, that kind of fresh mind, you know, they don't know the players, you know, I think it might be quite good for Hearts, but whoever it is, take the job. But it's a really good job to have. You know, obviously they're one of the best teams. Well, not the best. Well, not at the moment. They're not the best team, but they're one of the biggest clubs in Scotland. Great stadium. They've also got European football. And in my opinion, I think they've got a really good squad who definitely should not be bottom of the table. So yeah, whoever takes that job, you know, I think it's quite. I think there's going to be a lot of people interested. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, in terms of me, I think I'm going to disagree with that. I'm not going to go the foreign route manager. I'm actually going to stick with somebody Scottish. I
All
think
right.
someone within the Scottish game, I think maybe potentially, I think three names that stand out to me, I think would transform the club, especially that budget and that squad that they've got and get a better tune at them, would be for me John McGlynn from Falkirk, who we'll touch on. I thought they have that Falkirk side playing tremendous football.
He's managed Hearts before.
He's managed Hearts before. He's worked alongside Brendan Rodgers at Celtic in like a scouting role. And obviously he's got Falkirk playing tremendous football. Had Rafe Rovers playing good football as well. A couple of seasons ago. And then also I think somebody like Stephen Robinson at St Mirren, who I think has done a tremendous job at both Motherwell and at St Mirren, but he's transformed St Mirren into a solid top six size. Got them into Europe this season. Never quite made the group stages, but got them into qualifiers and got a few decent results. And they're just a consistent side. You know the style of play. And I think you get a better tune. And then I think the last one would probably favourite for me would probably be Derek McInnes. I feel as if like Kilmarnock done first season in the Premiership when they back up, just secured safety. He's built on it. Got them into top six last year. He's got a really strong squad. He recruits well, and you see what he did at Aberdeen, another massive club in Scottish football. And I think given a bigger club than Kilmarnock, no disrespect to Kilmarnock, but Hearts are a far bigger club than Kilmarnock and a bigger budget, and there's more chance of growth there. I think like what he's doing at Kilmarnock, there's a limit to what he can do. Whereas I think at Hearts there's a higher ceiling, and I think given that trajectory again, I think he could transform that Hearts side. And like you say, I think any of the three managers would transform that Hearts side. John McGlynn has known the club before, and then obviously Stephen Robinson and Derek McInnes both doing tremendous jobs at their current SPL clubs. So I think in terms of for me, I think it's good to have someone that just gets the league, knows the league inside out, and knows how to get results. And I think they three for me would be the standout candidates.
Yeah. You know, very, very viable candidates for Hearts. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them take the job, to be honest. I get where you're coming from. Obviously, you know, the Scottish game and stuff. You know, and I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Hearts go down that route. But in my opinion, I'd like to see Hearts appoint a manager that has no connection to the Scottish game, and comes in with a fresh pair of eyes. And yeah, I think that'd be quite refreshing to see. But obviously, we'll see. We don't know yet. So yeah, but just obviously, again to reconfirm the news that Hearts have sacked Steven Naismith. So we'll now move on to the Scottish League Cup. So that the quarterfinals were played last weekend. So on Saturday, the 21st of September, there was two matches which finished Aberdeen 4, Spartans 0, Rangers 3, Dundee 0, and on Sunday, 22nd of September, it finished Celtic 5, Falkirk 2. And then there was another match on Friday, 20th September, so just a couple of days after that. Before that, it was Motherwell 2, Dundee United 1. So we now know the semi-final of the Scottish League Cup. It'll be Celtic versus Aberdeen and Rangers versus Motherwell. So yeah, that's the Scottish League Cup semi-finals confirmed. So Pearse, which match from last weekend in the Scottish League Cup quarterfinals stood out to you the most?
I'm going to touch on the Celtic game against Falkirk, I think, because just the way Falkirk played. But I'm going to...
Sorry, Pearse, I was just going to say, I think both. I think we can just. I think we can safely say that both. I think that's going to be both our matches because that's my match as well.
Before I dive into it, I want to give a
Yeah,
step into the Motherwell Dundee United game. I don't know if you've seen
yeah.
Premier Sports that the commentary was actually on Motherwell TV, and they scored
No,
the
I never saw it.
last
No.
minute penalty, and it was just Motherwell fans just shouting galore. So I think it's
No, I never saw
a quarter final of a prestigious League Cup, and you've got the commentary from the Motherwell fan TV.
that.
It might be slightly biased. I thought that was that was quite comical. And only that could happen in Scottish football. But in terms of the actual match itself, it was quite close, quite entertaining, and it was the 97th minute. Lennon Miller steps up and slots a penalty away and they win the match. But in terms of, I think the Celtic game, that's the standout fixture for me the weekend. The fact is that Celtic for me made 8 changes, which I thought was a bit disrespectful, but understandable considering the Champions League exploits midweek against Slovan Bratislava. But I feel as if changing a full back four for me is something you should never do, regardless if you make change. I think for me, I think you can make 5 changes maximum from a side. Because you only make 5 substitutes, so you can bring the 5 players back on. But I think making 8 is a bit too much. And you've seen like a lot of players made their debuts, like Trusty and Valley in left centre half and left back, and I think the defence kind of struggled. And Falkirk for the best part of an hour deserved their 2-1 lead, and they played really high pressing game. And they actually did go at Celtic, which a lot of teams in the SPFL and the Scottish Premiership don't do. A lot of teams sit in, be pragmatic, and play for set pieces or long throws or second balls. But they pressed Celtic really high up and caused them a lot of problems. And the 2 finishes they had were outstanding. And especially the first one, it just broke at the edge of the box and just rifled at the bottom corner. And then the second one right on the stroke of half time, just the late run to the back post, and it just times the header perfectly. And Celtic, I think, were a bit stunned, because I think like, they thought maybe a bit of a cakewalk. But as I mentioned in terms of that link with the Hearts job, I think Falkirk play really good football at the moment, undefeated this season in the Championship. They carried it off for an undefeated season in League One where they romped the title. So I think there for me, their side is going to potentially be in the Premiership next season. We don't know; it's still early to say, but from what I saw, they play really good football. And Celtic to bring the big guns off the bench, most notably Nicholas Kuhn, who again was the star of the show. He was a difference maker. 2 goals, 2 assists from the bench. Only played 30 minutes, and he got man of match. So it speaks volumes of the quality he had on show. And as soon as Celtic got that equaliser, and then they scored the second, which was incredible. It must have been like less than 20, 30 seconds from kickoff. Nicholas Kuhn pressing down, and then I don't know if you see a touch from Adam Ida, just took two defenders out. Slotted past keeper. That was like incredible, a bit of skill. And then obviously, but it didn't deter Falkirk. They still played high pressing, but you seen the last 20 minutes, the legs were going, and as you know, pressing for that long against any side. But Celtic Park's a massive pitch, but all credit for me has to go to Falkirk, because for me, they showed that they had a go at Celtic and they got some reward. And Celtic at times, and you've seen the crowd turning a little bit in terms of like getting a bit antsy, and that all goes down to the away side. And I feel as if, like, for me, that was a standard result in terms of, but it's all credit to Falkirk. But Celtic had to rescue it off the bench and use their full squad depth to get the result.
Yep, absolutely. I thought Falkirk were a real credit to themselves. Brendan Rodgers said that was the best team that Celtic have faced this season. Massive compliments, especially the fact Celtic have played a Champions League team and they've also played Rangers during that time. And I actually agree with him. I actually think Falkirk, that was probably Celtic's toughest game this season. Obviously, Celtic did make changes, but I thought Falkirk's way of playing was really good to see. You know, they actually came to Celtic Park and had a goal. They didn't just sit back, and they actually pressed forward, trying to attack Celtic, and two deserving goals. I think it was the first goal. What a goal finish that was. I think it was McIvoy was called, right from outside the box. It was a really good finish. And yeah, they went into one at half time. I mean, I did think that obviously I knew Celtic's bench, so I was thinking if, you know, it's going to still be very hard for Falkirk to try and get through this, and it did kind of turn out to be the case. Obviously, Nicholas Kuhn came on, and he was the star of the show. I mean, what a start to the season he's had. It's just been incredible, remarkable, considering how he was last season. So yeah, Celtic kind of, after they brought the big guns on, they kind of did manage to comfortably sail through it the next round. But I think the story of that match is how well Falkirk played. To be fair, I thought they gave it a real good go. And yeah, obviously you were saying about John McGlynn, who is a Falkirk manager, being linked with Hearts. You know, if he could manage to get that kind of style of play implemented at Hearts, obviously Hearts have got better players as well. You know, Hearts might be in for something special with John McGlynn if he was to be the manager. But yeah, Celtic obviously had a scare, but they did manage to get through in the end. But I think the big message is there that fair play to Falkirk, because I thought they played really well. So for the final part of the show, Pearson will give his Asian football roundup.
Yeah, so start off with K-League 1 action. So Saturday, 21st of September, we had Suwon FC 2, Gimcheon Sangwoo 4, Daegu FC 1, SSL 1. Sunday, the 22nd of September, we had Gwangju FC 0, Jeju United 2, Pohang Steelers 2, Gangwon FC 1, Daejeon Hana Citizen 0, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors FC 0, Incheon United 0, Ulsan HDFC 0. So the K-League 1 final round groups have been confirmed ahead of schedule, because usually from week 33 is when the top six play each other and the bottom six play each other. So SSL are in the top half for the first time since 2019, and Suwon FC and Gangwon FC, who were in the relegation playoff last year, are both in the top six, although Gangwon's latest title push is faltering. So the final A Championship round top six is Ulsan HDFC, Gimcheon Sangwoo FC, Gangwon FC, Suwon FC, Pohang Steelers, and FC Seoul. And for final B, the relegation round is Gwangju FC, Jeju United, Daejeon Hana Citizen, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, Daegu FC, and Incheon United. So in terms of J-League 1 action, Saturday 21st of September, the Kashi Antlers 0, Kashi Seoul 0, Jubilo Iwata 0, Avispa Fukuoka 0, FC Machida Zelvia 0, Oikuro Console Sapporo 0, Ura Diamonds 0, FC Tokyo 2. Sunday 22nd of September, we had Nagoi Grampus 2, Kawasaki Frontale 0, Alvarez Nagata 2, Vissel Kobe 3, Tokyo Verde 2, Sagan Tucson 0, San Frecce Hiroshima 6, UKF Mariners 2, Kyoto Sanga FC 2, Gambo Osaka 2, Shonan Belmare 1, Cezo Osaka 2. So leading the table like this. At the top of the table we have San Frecce Hiroshima and FC Machida Zelvia, both joint top with 59. Third place with last season champions on 58 points, just a point behind Vissel Kobe. And then fourth and fifth is 50 points is on Christian Antlers and Gambo Osaka on 49 points, just outside the top three. And at the bottom half of the table we have Sagan Tusu, rock bottom, on 24 points. 19th position, Hokuro Console Sapporo on 26 points. And then 18th in the final relegation playoff place, we've got Jubiluata on 32 points. And just outside it, we have Shonan Belmare on 17th, also on 32 points, separated by 6 goals there. And then just above them in 16th position, Cashew Russell on 34 points. And that is your latest Asian football news.
Thank you, Pearse, and thank you everyone for listening to this episode of the Football Chuggu Podcast. This podcast will be available to listen to on the Football Chuggu YouTube channel and also the Football Chuggu website. Thanks for listening and see you soon.
Bye-bye.